Hey guys, welcome back to Mind Over Miller. I'm so glad you're here today. If you caught episode 5, you know we talked about having people in our corner. The kind of people who cheer for you when you win, sit with you when you lose, and remind you who you are when you forget. I thought about ending the conversation there, but the truth is, this topic's too big for just one episode. Because yes, it's beautiful to receive support, to have people in your corner, but there's another side to it that matters just as much. How we give that same strength back. It's about the back and forth flow of human connection, about how we are never just the borrower or just the giver. We are constantly both. Let's start with the borrowing side. Have you ever been in a season where you couldn't hold yourself up? Not because you weren't strong, but because you were tired or overwhelmed, or life just felt heavier than usual? In those seasons, having someone lend you their strength is almost magical. It's not that they solve all your problems. It's that they become a steady hand when yours is shaking. Sometimes borrowed strength looks like someone showing up at your door with dinner when you didn't have the energy to decide what to eat. Sometimes it's a friend who says, "You don't need to talk, just come over and sit with me." And sometimes it's a single sentence that replays in your head for weeks, helping you move forward when you weren't sure you could. I can remember a time when I was really doubting myself. Like really doubting my abilities, my worth, all of it. And I had someone in my life look me right into my eyes and said, "I know you can do this, and I'm not going anywhere while you figure it out." That moment changed something in me. It didn't instantly fix everything, but it gave me a little bit of borrowed bravery. A little bit of their certainty when mine had gone missing. That's the thing about having people in your corner. They don't just hold space for you. They hold hope for you, and that hope is contagious. Here's what's wild. Borrowed strength is rarely dramatic. It's often quiet, unflashy. Think about it. When's the last time someone gave you strength without even realizing it? Maybe it was a coworker who noticed you were off and slid a cup of coffee onto your desk without saying a word. Or the friend who texted, "I thought about you today," out of nowhere. It's these little gestures that remind you you're not carrying this alone. And now here's the other side. Giving. There will be days, weeks, or even years when you're the one holding the umbrella, when you're steady enough to be steady for someone else, when you're the text message, the listening ear, the "I believe in you." And here's the truth. Giving strength is not always convenient. Life is, well, it's busy, like really busy. There are endless responsibilities pulling at us. Work deadlines, family demands, errands, bills, and the constant hum of a million tasks that fill up our days before we can even catch a breath. And because of that, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, "I just don't have time," especially when it comes to showing up for others. Maybe you've caught yourself thinking, "I wish I could check in more, but I'm just too swamped right now." And here's what I've come to understand. Making time for the people you care about isn't about having endless hours. It's about choosing to carve out moments. It's about the intention behind those moments. You don't have to plan a whole afternoon or write a long letter to show someone you care. Sometimes it's the little things. A quick text saying, "Hey, just wanted to see how you're doing today," or a 5-minute phone call in the car on the way home. It's remembering a friend's birthday or noticing when someone's been quiet lately and sending a text message that says, "I see you. I'm here for you." And yes, those moments might feel small or insignificant to you, but to the person on the other end, they can mean everything. Showing up for someone isn't about perfection or grand gestures. It's about consistency, presence, and making the choice to be there, even when life's overwhelming. Because when you make that choice, even in the tiniest ways, you're giving strength. You're telling someone, "You matter enough for me to pause and be here for you." And that message, it's powerful. Here's the thing. You're not meant to give endlessly without rest, and you're not meant to take endlessly without giving. There's a rhythm here. Some seasons, you'll be the one leaning heavily on your people. Other seasons, you will be the one that they lean on. And sometimes, it'll switch back and forth in the same week. That's not imbalance. That's relationship. When someone lends you their strength, you remember how that feels. You remember the relief, the gratitude, the way it lightened your load. And often, that memory is what inspires you to turn around and be that for someone else. That's the ripple effect. A kindness you receive in January might be the kindness you pass on in July, and neither person may realize that one led to the other, but it happens all the time. This week, I want you to try something. Pay attention to the little shifts in your energy. When do you feel lighter after talking to somebody? Who has been a steady hand for you lately? And where are you quietly holding on to space for someone else? These are strength exchanges. They may not be flashy enough to make it into a movie scene, but they are life-changing, yours included. And here's why I think this is worth talking about again and again. The world can make us forget that we actually need each other. We live in a time where independence is celebrated, and that's not a bad thing, don't get me wrong. But sometimes it gets twisted into thinking we should never lean on anybody, that we should be more self-sufficient to the point of isolation. But the truth? We are built for connection. We are wired to steady and be steadied, to pour out and to refill. Borrowing and giving strength isn't just about kindness. It's about survival in the human sense. It's how communities thrive. It's how friendships last decades. It's how families heal. And when we take part in that exchange, we're saying something bigger than, I'm here for you. We're saying, I see you, I value you, and I'm not letting you go through this alone. When you think about it, this is one of the quiet ways we change the world. Not in sweeping somatic moments, but in coffee mugs handed over, in text message sent at the right time, in the warm silence of sitting beside someone who doesn't have all the words yet. These small moments stack up into something unshakable. They become the invisible safety net we all fall into when life drops us. And maybe that's the point. We're not just here to get through life, but to get through it together. Together doesn't mean perfectly in sync all the time. It doesn't mean we'll always have the right words, or that we'll never disappoint each other. It means we show up anyway. It means we choose connection over comfort, even when it would be easier to retreat into our own little bubble. Sometimes being together is messy. We might not know exactly what someone needs, but you still choose to be present. You might feel awkward, unsure if you're helping at all, but your willingness to be there speaks louder than you think. Because the truth is, some people don't need you to fix everything. They don't need a perfectly crafted speech or a grand gesture. They need to know that when life knocks them flat, they can look to their side and see you're there, still standing, still holding space, still willing to carry part of the weight. And here's something I've learned the hard way. The moments that mean the most in our life often feel small when they're happening. They are the late-night calls you almost didn't answer because you were tired, the just checking in text you sent without thinking much of it, the 5 extra minutes you lingered after a conversation because you sensed someone needed to. These moments, they often become the anchor someone holds onto for weeks, months, or years. When we start to live together, we start to notice more. Not just in the people we love, but in strangers, coworkers, neighbors. We start to see the quiet signals of someone who's running on empty. We start to realize that strength isn't just this thing we keep for ourselves. It's something we carry in our pocket, ready to hand out when the moment calls for it. And maybe that's the beauty of this whole thing. We can't always control when we'll need to borrow or when we will be called to give. But we can decide, whatever season we're in, we will keep showing up for each other, over and over again, imperfectly, faithfully, together. So where are you borrowing strength? Where are you giving it? Maybe you're in a heavy season right now. Maybe you feel like you've been leaning on the same person a lot lately, and you're worried it's too much. I want you to know, it's not too much for the right people. And if you're in a season where you got extra strength to give, remember even the smallest act can mean the world to someone who's struggling. So make the call. Send the text. Ask how they're really doing. Because life is busy, but connection is what makes it worth it. And we make time for the people we care about. And here's the thing. The people you care about aren't just on your list of things to do. They're not another task to check off between answering emails and folding laundry. They are the bright spots that make the rest of it worth pushing through. When we choose to make time, even in the tiny and perfect ways, we're saying, you matter more than my to-do list for the next 5 minutes. We're stepping outside of that constant motion of life to still be with someone. In a world that keeps telling us to go faster, that pause is powerful. Sometimes it's as simple as remembering a small detail from someone's life and bringing it up later. Sometimes it's sending a photo that made you think of them, or checking in on a day that you know might be hard for them. Those acts don't take much time, but they plant roots. They tell someone, You're safe here, you're seen here, and you're loved here. Because at the end of the day, the text, the calls, and conversations aren't just about catching up. They're about saying, I'm in this with you, no matter how heavy, no matter how light, I'm here. So maybe that's the real strength we pass back and forth. Not just encouragement in the moment, but a reminder that we belong somewhere, that there are people who will carry part of our load, celebrate our wins, and sit with us in the in-between. And maybe our job isn't to have the perfect words or endless energy, but to simply keep showing up, in borrowed strength, in given strength, and in the quiet, steady presence that tells someone, you're not alone. And if you hear nothing else from today's episode, I hope you hear this. Connection is one of the greatest gifts we get to give and receive. It's not about keeping score or getting it right every time. It's about being a part of each other's story in real, tangible ways. So wherever you are today, whatever season you're in, let this be your gentle reminder to lean in, to notice, to show up, because these moments, the ones that seem small in the moment, often end up being the ones that matter most. And again, thank you all so much for being people in my corner, for showing up every week, listening, taking 5, 10, 15 minutes out of your day to listen to this podcast means the absolute world to me. And I am so excited to continue on this journey with all of you by my side. And also, I want you to remember that Mind Over Miller is always in your corner. We see you. You're safe with us. We love you. And in the meantime, take care of yourself. Speak kindly to yourself. And remember, whether you're borrowing or giving, you're a part of a bigger circle of strength than you realize. Talk to you soon.